To experience what it was like being in a wheelchair, I went to the mall and went to some of my favorite stores.
So what I did was I tried to walk my dog in a wheelchair.
I went grocery shopping in a wheelchair.
I was trying to leave my building and attempt to go to school.
And just kind of wheeled around.
And then I had waited for the elevator, went to the front lobby, realized I didn't even notice before, but I have a huge staircase coming out of my front lobby.
Well, getting into Loblaws was the first challenge of going shopping in a wheelchair.
I thought it was going to be hard, but it was a lot harder than I had even anticipated.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't get the front wheel over the barrier.
And just getting to the mall and just like getting out in the parking lot and just trying to wheel into the mall was difficult.
So once I realized that, turned around, went to the basement.
And she also likes to stop and sniff everything, so that made it even more challenging.
Creepy basement, I would like to add.
Just getting inside and like trying to get up to the level where all of food was. Like there was a ramp that said no wheelchairs, like right on it there was a sign.
Going to the mall and only having one elevator was an extremely hard thing. Whenever I wanted to go to a different floor, I had to go back to the same point.
You have to take the elevator up.
And then halfway through it, she also realized that she didn't like the wheels, so then she started trying to attack and like fight the wheelchair, which was because she barked. I think she was scared of it.
When I got to the doors, people were blowing by me and not taking the time to maybe offer me the door or at least hit the button for me.
Also, like rolling, I didn't even think about, but I had to watch for her paws because she usually walks pretty close to me. So when I was rolling, I didn't even think about it, but I got pretty close to her paws quite a few times.
I went there. The door to actually leave to go outside is so heavy. Every time I was trying to open it, it would just like push me right back.
When I went to stores, I had a really hard time reaching things.
Just kind of annoying.
There was also, she was pulling me in all like different kinds of directions.
And everything seemed really inaccessible.
And I kept going off the sidewalk onto the grass. I just had no control. I couldn't steer myself in any kind of direction whatsoever.
And also just the distance, the general ground I had to cover.
Well, when she started barking, and she got scared, so she started barking and trying to bite the wheels. A lot of people were looking. It was kind of embarrassing because it looked like I couldn't even control my own dog.
And I just couldn't, between pushing the door open and getting myself out, I definitely would have needed someone's help.
Once I was in the store, it was actually a pretty good shopping experience.
Like taking her for a walk was not easy.
Everyone was really nice to me, like nicer than usual.
So it was an extremely hard and frustrating experience.
I think that they felt sorry for me.
And it was also embarrassing just because I was actually shocked at how much like lack of skill I had in controlling wheelchairs.
Maybe practice, but at this point I just couldn't.
And I would never want to be stuck in a wheelchair.
Like I couldn't do it at all.
Everyone that I saw was using the ramp that is kind of meant for me on the wheelchair.
So that was like hard. I don't know if that's something I could do on a regular basis. I might have to get someone to walk my dog for me.
And having people jump in front of me in line so they can sneak up, so they don't have to wait and making me wait. Like it felt really like I felt really small.
I don't want to always have someone with them that can help them get into wherever they need to go. They want to be able to do everyday things by themselves. They're their own people.
Like I was getting a lot of stares as I was shopping.
I was really bad at it. I think I failed the task.
And the looks from the people looking at me.
I couldn't even make it. Like I didn't even make it. I don't think you understand. I didn't even make it to the driveway. I barely made it like 2 feet down the sidewalk.
And I went over to get meat from the deli counter, and the lady actually like walked the meat over to me and put it in the cart for me, which was really nice. It never happened to me before.
Giving me making me feel like I was different, even though I'm not different. They made me feel like I was.
I feel like kind of embarrassed and like upset that I wasn't able to do it, and I realize now like how much harder it is than I had even anticipated. And if I was to have to go in a wheelchair, it would definitely take like it would be a life change. I'd have to readjust everything I do.
Well, I felt very stigmatized and I felt very different from everyone else.
It was Tuesday, so it's like the student save 10% day, and someone in front of me got denied because he didn't have his student card with him, but I still got the discount.
The act of actually having to use the wheelchair and me actually failing at doing that it just like it makes you kind of feel like you lose a sense of independence, like you kind of have to rely on other people.
And I didn't have my students with me, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Biggest issues I found was just that getting around, like a lot of it seemed that it was really on me to get where I wanted to go.
Because had I not been in a wheelchair, would he have given me the same treatment, or would he have denied me those steps?
Well, something I noticed, like while I was in the wheelchair, of things that maybe should be improved. The sidewalks. I mean, I notice even when I'm walking sometimes it's uneven, it's hard. But when I was in the wheelchair, especially going from the sidewalk to the grass, there was a lot of dips. So if I did like go off course a little bit, it was really like bumpy. I got stuck.
I can definitely see how quick little things, like maybe a button on the door downstairs or a not ridiculously heavy door, little things like that could have made the biggest difference for me, and I could have gotten out no problem.
When I had that extra helping hand, when I had someone behind me pushing, it was a lot easier to get around.
Difficulties that I found when I was doing it was just even trying to like figure out how to roll both the wheels and hold her at the same time.
It was extremely hard to just leaving my building, just going to the places I want to go.
So things that were difficult about getting around inside Loblaws is probably like avoiding people in the aisles is kind of hard sometimes.
It's definitely important that everyone is has equal opportunities.
Like shopping for produce and stuff.
And it seems like everywhere I went, there was always just enough done to make it so that it would pass the bylaw.
I didn't think about puddles. It's raining and like kind of snowy slush out there. I didn't really think about those kind of things.
Apples were hard to get.
Or pass whatever code they have to pass.
Because I couldn't see which ones were moved at the top, so I was kind of confined to the apples in the lower areas of the display.
Like people that have to use wheelchairs don't necessarily have mental disabilities. They are just as capable as you or me, and it's just not being able to have those opportunities is putting them back when it's not necessary.
It seemed like rather than taking all of the steps necessary to make it so that it was an actual enjoyable experience for me, it seemed like they just did enough to get by so that I had to work that extra little step to get wherever I wanted to go.
I guess it's just not making it any easier.
And when I was trying to get bread, I couldn't reach it at all, so I had to get someone to help me get bread down.
Seems like a lot more could be done to really improve the experience of people that are in wheelchairs.
I think that this experience was really helpful for me.
There's still a lot of things that need to be done that I didn't even think about or consider.
Things that I've learned about accessibility is that everything really is 10 times harder to do. Like everything.
When a building planner or designer is coming up with a new concept for a building,
Even navigating around the store, like getting into the store, everything was just a challenge.
or what they want to do, they should definitely have to maybe get in a wheelchair and like wheel around and experience, you know, is this layout going to be beneficial to someone who's confined to a wheelchair?
I started with rating it 3 out of 10, my knowledge of accessibility, which is extremely low.
I mean, I always see wheelchair accessible signs.
I just never really thought about it, and putting yourself in that position really changes your outlook.
Because it seems like they don't do that kind of thing. They kind of establish like just the bare essentials to get it by, but it seems like if someone would actually experience that, wow, this, you know, this isn't the most beneficial thing, I can make this better, I can make this more easily accessible for people.
Then I hear about it and I just thought it was all like probably making everything that we would have. So I assumed that everything was fairly accessible and that there was like alternative options for people who are in wheelchairs.
I think it would give them a change of perspective. I know for me, doing this, experiencing this, I've really learned that, you know, it's a lot harder than it looks.
So I have so much more respect for people in wheelchairs that have to do that every single day.
But after doing it, I realized that there's not, and there's still a lot of room for improvement.
I could tell within 5 minutes of being in the wheelchair, my arms were already starting to ache.
It's like it seems like being in a wheelchair wouldn't be that big of a daunting task.
And that people who like do face these things often are like a lot greater difficulty, but like they do it, and I give them that much more respect for it.
Which is very sad, but true. Like, if necessary, I would have to adapt to be able to live with a wheelchair, but I, like, at this point, at the point that our society is right now,
I actually really enjoyed the whole experience.
I don't think it would be like doable for me to live where I'm living, go to school where I go to school, take the courses I'm taking.
I think it's something that everyone should try at least once.
And even like, I didn't realize how many stairs there were. Even when I started to notice it when I was coming out of the building.
Which is kind of annoying, and I can imagine it would be annoying for someone in a wheelchair.
It would be a complete lifestyle change, I think.
It's just to get that feel, just to get that perspective of what it really is like to be in that chair.
She felt sad. Look at her face. She didn't like that walk at all.
To have everyone's eyes on you everywhere you go. They may not stare, but they always seem to glance or take a look.
I'd probably go with right here at the most.
And I know me in particular, everywhere I go really fast, and I don't pay a lot of attention. And I know that now when I do see someone at a door that's having a hard time getting through, there won't be an instance where I don't stop and help them now, because I realize now just how hard it is to get anywhere and do anything.
I just have no upper body strength, to be honest.
And I'm really happy that I experienced this, because I've just learned a lot, and I really appreciate the work that it takes to be in a wheelchair.
And I feel like I enjoyed that people were so nice to me, but at the same time, over the course of time, that could get really annoying as well.